everybody. As you all know, this issue is very close to my heart and my home. Thank you, Lori Davies, for introducing AB 2081, and to Steve Knobloch and Rick Loeffler for discussion tonight. I'd like to give you a little background on why this issue matters for me and residents of San Clemente, and why I request your support tonight for this resolution. When the Affordable Care Act passed in 2014, it required coverage for substance abuse disorders, creating a new for-profit industry. Although well-intentioned, many of the downstream effects of this coverage were not well planned for. 10 years later, we have seen a gold rush in addiction healthcare. We have a cesspool of unregulated private equity, fraudulent purveyors, looking to maximize profits with little to no regulations. At whose expense? Mostly at the expense of vulnerable patients, while business owners milk our ever-increasing public and private investments in behavioral health care. In the last 10 years, there's been extensive investigative reporting, U.S. Department of Justice legal action, and overwhelming evidence of massive fraud and poor outcomes for those seeking addiction care. CNN investigators reported a decade ago, rehab racket, frauds, felons, and fakes. NPR reported in 2021, as addiction deaths surge, profit-driven rehab industry faces severe ethical crisis. The OC Register has been reporting evidence of fraud and scandal in the rehab Riviera for a decade, strongly rebuking the status quo. The Justice Department recently declared Orange County ground zero for addiction care fraud. We have had grand jury reports. We've had legislative task force. We've had numerous bills proposed to address the challenges, and still no change has occurred. That is how powerful and rich the addiction business lobby is in this state. All of the common sense bills have been vetoed. It all comes down to money and profit. The state of California is one of the last states in the country to regulate addiction health care. You cannot ask the residents of San Clemente to open up their neighborhoods filled with children and elderly and families to fraudulent addiction recovery businesses with no regulations. That is not acceptable. My street will never be the same after we have personally experienced 3 homes being sold or rented to addiction care businesses. They aren't required to get a business license. They aren't required to have doctors on site. They aren't required to conduct background checks for their employees. They aren't required to have any safety inspections. They aren't subject to zoning requirements. What does everyone expect? Of course there will be fraud. They are raking in money hand over fist in the darkness of neighborhoods. Now our children must run and play outside of fraud-prone drug and alcohol facilities without regulations. This is not right. Please support this bill. It's a tiny step forward, but it's at least a step. And tell Gavin Newsom that the safety of so many is on the line and the ball is in his court. If more and more people in our city and state need health care, the very least we can do is make sure we have transparency.
Thank you very much.